Hey, is Ray still there? What was that? Huh? How about you? Shout out to Dory. Yeah, let's make sure we get
Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Israelite School of Biblical History and Practical Knowledge. We're here at 8524 South Brazelton Boulevard, Houston, Texas, 77071. We have classes Monday and Wednesday from 7 to 10 p.m., Friday from 9 to 11:30 p.m., and then Saturday morning classes 10 to 1 p.m. All right. If you got any questions, you can hit me up on the text here, 832-941-2443, or you can hit us on the YouTube live chat. And we'll go ahead and address any questions you have according to the scriptures. All right. Once again, if for those of y'all that have given donations right now already, the books, the pads, papers, and pens, and everything like that is much appreciated. All the office supplies. If you got anything else that you can give, canned goods, more books, more papers, more pens, cars that we can help give people rides, stuff like that. That's all welcome. Just send it to the school address. If you want to give any money, if you want to give any money, you can send that to the Wells Fargo account, which is account number 101-580-6167. All right, that's account number 101-580-6167. And we'll gladly accept your donations. And all that's going to do, that's going to help keep the lights on at the school, keep the rent paid, water, stuff like that, the utilities, everything like that. It's going to help keep the maintenance of the school upkept. Once again, for those of y'all that got any questions, you can text 832-941-2443, and we'll go ahead and get to your questions. But we're going to pick up on the reading where we left off last week. You say you got a question?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's get to that 1 second. All right, what's your question?
It's in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11.
Second Corinthians what?
2 verse 11.
2 Corinthians 2 verse 11. Go ahead, read that.
I guess I'll go up to 10, but it's in 11.
Okay.
2 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 10. So whom you forgive anything, I forgive also. For if I forgave anything, to whom I forgave it, for your sakes forgave I it in the person of Christ. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So my question is, what are some of his devices? I know about the rooms, about certain things, but what might be some of his devices that I might not be aware of, that I might not be looking into?
Go to Galatians chapter 5. I think you're going to start at verse 18.
Galatians chapter 5, verse 18. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not. Galatians chapter 5, verse 19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest.
So Satan comes in the flesh. He comes through the flesh. All right. So if you want to know the tricks of the devil, his devices, this is going to show you his devices because he comes through the flesh. He operates through the carnal. All right. He doesn't operate through the spirit. You see that? He operates through the carnal, what your flesh wants. Go ahead.
Now, the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication.
Right, so he comes as adultery. Okay, I'm gonna have some woman with a fat booty shake it all up in your face, and she married. You know what I mean? She gonna come acting like she want to get the scriptures, and she want to, you know what I mean? She want to be in love with you and all this stuff. They never tell you she actually got a husband. You know what I mean? Or a boyfriend, whatever they want to call it in the world. All right. Go ahead.
Fornication.
Fornication, right? That's just sleeping around, not making these women your wife, just sleeping with everything you see. All right, go ahead. Uncleanness, right? Keeping your body unclean, keeping your house, your surroundings unclean. All right, he works through that. All right, go ahead.
Lasciviousness,
right? Going after everything. You know what I mean? Just trying to get all the money, trying to get all the power, trying to get all the women, all the, he works through all that. Just being disgusting, being filthy. Go ahead.
Idolatry.
I never
get that word.
Right. So he comes through. You worship in your car. You worship in your things. You know what I mean? He comes through. You worship in money. The love of money is the root of all evil. You know what I mean? He comes through the worship of things. You know what I mean? Whether it be cars, jewelry, money, whatever. He comes through that worship. You know what I mean? TV, watching your favorite stars on TV. I gotta go to her concert. I gotta go to her autograph signings, her book signings, her CD signings. I gotta be everywhere she is. I'm waiting outside for the bushes. You know what I mean? So all that. Go ahead. Witchcraft, right? So when you go to 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 22, you find out 15 verse 22 and 23. You see that rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. So going into that rebellious nature, that's witchcraft. When you go into I'm trying to go into the book of Adam and Eve and the Odes of Solomon and all that, trying to conjure up demons at 3 o'clock in the morning and all that. Witchcraft. All right.
Hatred.
Go ahead.
Variance.
Right. So that hatred for your brother, for your sister, that kind of thing. That's how Satan works through. Go ahead.
What is variance?
Variance is always being against. Somebody say, "Hey, we're gonna go do this." I don't want to do that. Everything that can come up is like, I don't really want to, or okay, you know what I mean? But you don't actively want to participate in. All
right.
Emulations, right? Wanting to be like somebody else, but in such a way as you're not trying to work and strive to be like them. You know what I mean? You're not trying to do what they did to get where they're at. You just want to take their position. You know what I mean? Without having to do the work. Go ahead.
Wrath.
Right? That anger, that fierce anger where you just want to destroy everything. Go ahead.
Strife,
fighting all the time. Go ahead. Seditions. Right. Seditions, uprisings. You know what I mean? Against like the powers that be. You know what I mean? Like what they would call mutiny on a ship. They all try to go against the captain, throw him off the ship, and take over. Seditions, right? I'll put the incense on there.
And then heresies,
right? Always talking against what the established order is. Like you got these niggas I'm dealing with right now. These cats on Facebook trying to preach to everybody that it's okay to smoke marijuana and everything. You know what I mean? They can't show one scripture showing that we smoked anything and inhaled it and put it in our lungs, but then they try to use the reverse on you. Well, show me one scripture where we can. Well, if we didn't do it, well, then what's the point in starting now? If our people weren't doing it, what's the point in starting now? If you can't find one scripture where Christ was walking around smoking all that stuff, then what's the point in you starting to do it? You know what I mean? Then you post all these scriptures about, look, being sober, how we're supposed to be sober, clear-minded. Nah, I won't. But you can't show me something that says it's wrong. I just did. You're supposed to be sober, clear-minded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not sober before, during, or after. You know what I mean? If you're messing with that marijuana. But see, that's what I'm saying is they like to commit heresies. Well, it's like 1 Corinthians, I think it's 1:11. He says there must be heresies among us because that way the ones that are elect they can be manifest. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
And then envying.
Envy, right? Wanting again, it's like covetousness, wanting stuff, but never trying to fulfill the obligation and the requirements to be able to get those things. Just wanting to take them or envying somebody else. So, like Cain did Abel, you know what I mean? The Most High liked his sacrifice, so I envy that. You know, I'm envying that love. See that? Was that it?
Murderers.
Murderers, obvious, right? Go ahead.
Drunkenness.
Drunkenness. See, one thing kind of leads to the other. The drunkenness, again, the intoxication, not just representing drunkenness off of drink, but representing drunkenness off of any kind of drug. See that?
That's it. And then rebellions.
Rebellions, right? Again, goes with variance, goes with seditions. It's I want to do opposite of what the Most High has done. All right.
And then that's basically it. And then it says, in such like of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God.
See that? You're not going to inherit the kingdom of God. That's why Satan puts those things in front of you so that you can't inherit the kingdom of the Most High. He can't hit you. He can't hit you just direct and make you do something. You know what I mean? Like Balaam, he learned that he couldn't curse Israel. He couldn't go up the mountain and curse Israel because you can't just throw a curse on us. The Most High got us. But what he could do was show the Moabites and the Midianites that if they sent their women in amongst us and we went after the works of the flesh, then we would be in that demonic realm. We would be under Satan's authority. You see that?
That's like the first one that they named it to, adultery.
Yeah. Yeah.
And fornication, so that's probably the ones that, since those are like the first two we named, that's probably like the heaviest ones that we probably.
Because that's how historically we always fell. Quick. You know what I mean? That's the easiest one to fall to. The easy open hole, that's easy for brothers to fall into. You know what I mean? Your brothers who want to connect their penis directly to their brain, that's easy to fall into. See that?
Yes, sir. And then I was gonna say too, but it says in the last precept that they which do such things shall where it says of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in the time past. That's something about back in 1 Corinthians, right?
Yeah, Paul said that many times before. Okay. You know what I mean? All the apostles, all the prophets were saying this many times before. When you go to 1 John 2:15, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. Okay. See that? For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, the lust of the eyes, right? It's not of the Most High.
Yes, sir.
See that? Okay. So it goes right along with that too. You can write that in there too, 1 John 2:15. Those are good precepts to connect with that scripture. Those are the devices. Those are the devices that Satan will use.
I have another one too, sir. And what was the 1 John that you said as well?
1 John 2:15.
John chapter 2, verse 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. Right. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him.
See, why? Because you love Satan. Satan is the prince of this world. See that? So, if you're loving the world, you're not loving the Father. You're not loving who he is. You understand? Go ahead.
For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world.
Right. See that? So if it's not of the Father, who is it? It's of that wicked one. See that? Go ahead.
My next question is in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 16.
2 Corinthians 2:16. Go ahead, read that.
And I just needed to know this verse reading. And it says, to the one we are the savor of death unto death. And to the other the savor of life unto life.
Right. To some people, they don't want to hear what we gotta say. So it's like we're killing them. You know what I mean? At the same time, we're telling them things that they're ignoring, so that's going to count as death to them. Now it counts as sin. Now the things they do count as sin because they done heard the word. They have been shown their transgressions, like Isaiah 51 says. We showed them their transgressions. So now it's death unto them because they don't want to do it. You show all these scriptures about smoking weed, they want to keep doing it. They want to keep justifying it. Okay, cool. Let the wicked go on being wicked. You know what I mean? But that's going to become death unto you. So for some, we're the savor of death. They smell us, they're like, oh, that's going to kill me. You know what I mean? For others, ooh, they hear us coming through and it's like, ooh, that's life to them. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
And who is sufficient for these things?
Right, saying who is sufficient for these things. Like, go on.
Verse 17. For we are not as many which corrupt the word of the Most High.
Right, so you say who's sufficient for these things? And what can you do? You know what I mean? Some it's death to them, some it's life to them. When we supposed to stop doing it? You see what I'm saying? Alright. But that was the question on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's basically just the understanding on it.
Alright. Yeah, that will trip me out.
Right. Anybody else, real quick? One more?
I have like more.
Yeah, 3 more. Okay.
This is 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 6. It says, who also had made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life.
Right. This is a good scripture for people to think that the law is going to justify them. Like we talked about with the brother the other day, he asked that question, right? The law is not going to justify you. You got to know the spirit of the law. You know, I was talking to a sister about this too. You know, not if you're going under the letter of the law, that's going to kill you. Because what? You're wearing mixed fabrics right now. You're dead. You know what I mean? If you mouth off to your mom ever, you're dead. If you know what I mean, all these things are holding to the letter of the law. Let's take the Sabbath, right? The scriptures tell you that the Sabbath is 7 days from when light and darkness was created. That was the first day, right? People want to go off of the moon. The moon and the stars was created what day?
The moon and the stars was the third day.
The third day, right? So they're doing it 7 days from the new moon, right? Well, the brand new moon, right, when the Most High created was the third day. So if you're doing it 7 days from there, you're actually doing it on the 10th day of creation. Y'all see that? Right. So you're not doing it on the Sabbath. You're doing it on the 10th day. Feel me?
Yeah.
Because you have to know what day light and darkness was created.
What day of that 1,000th year?
Right.
Of that 30,000th year.
Y'all see that? You'd have to know when that happened. All right. Since you don't know, the Most High said honor the Sabbath on the 7th day, right? 7 days or 6 days you should do all your work. On the 7th is a day of rest. So whatever calendar you're in, you take that 7th day. That's the Sabbath. All right.
Yes, sir.
Gregorian, Greco-Roman, Greek, Persian, Median, Babylonian, Jewish. All right. Whatever calendar, the 7th day, that's the Sabbath. See that? That's what he said to do. Because you got to know the spirit of the law. What's the spirit of the law? You weren't there when he created light and darkness. No man was. See that? What's that?
So that's why Christ came to show us the spirit of the law.
Right.
Matthew 5:17.
Right. Because when you read in the New Testament, right, it tells you when the Sabbath day is. You know what I mean? It tells you they had their Sunday as it began to dawn the first day of the week. Right? They were in the Roman calendar. Right? They said as it began to dawn the first day of the week. That's when they came and they found out he was gone. Right? They said at the end of the Sabbath. So that means first day of the week, right? So the Sabbath ended Saturday night. See that? Simple as that, but you got simple Negroes that sitting there talking about, oh, the seventh day. You don't know when the seventh day was, bro. Light and darkness was the first day. The next day was the firmament. The next day was the sun, moon, star. The next day was the grass, herbs, trees, and all that. The next day was man and the beast. You know what I mean? The next day was man in his image, and then he rested. So that's 7 days. See that?
So basically, it took them like almost like 1,000 years just to make the light.
Yeah. Everything was done. You know, a day to the Most High is 1,000 years. 1,000 years but a day. See that? So again, then there's more confusion there because you're not doing it according to that day either. It said, what, you're gonna wait till the 7,000 year? See, that's what the Sabbath is, right? In 7 days he rested. That means if it took him 7,000 years, then you're supposed to wait until 7,000 years and then you rest.
So the lifespan's only 120.
Right. So how you gonna celebrate the Sabbath in the Most High's way? See that? No, you're gonna celebrate it according to what He gave you. He said 6 days you should do your work, and the seventh is a day of rest. See, that's our days. He gave us what that was. See that?
Yes, sir.
If you try to go according to what the creation, or He did it on the 7 days, guess what? You're still off because it took Him 7,000 years. Y'all see that?
Yes, sir.
So that's the spirit of the law. Knowing these things, knowing the spirit of the scriptures, knowing what actually happened, and knowing everything like that, that's how you get the spirit of the law. But going according to the letter, you're gonna die. You don't have no sacrifices no more. You don't have a goat. You've done many sins, right? You ain't sacrificed one goat. Uh-oh. You know what I mean? You're dead. See that? That's the letter of the law, right? But what's the spirit of the law? That Christ came and was that final sacrifice. That the Most High said even before Christ came that He didn't have no delight in our sacrifices no more because we weren't giving them the right way. That's why He sent Christ. See that? And then once Christ died, there ain't no more need for sacrifice. Hebrews 10. You know what I mean? You can't do nothing bigger than that. So we got to understand the spirit of the law, not just the letter, because the letter will kill you. You try to hold it to the letter, and you go ride the bus. Guess what? You sat on the mistress woman's seat. You know what I mean? Now you're screwed. Now you're in sin. Now you're unclean until the evening. But did you wash right after? No, you didn't. You went to work. You ate. You know what I mean? Now your body's unclean because you just defiled your insides.
Oh, you ate a burger from somebody from off the grill that made pork.
Right. See that? We stick to the letter, you dead. Especially now, everything's defiled. What about Isaiah, man? The whole earth is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. Guess what? If you live on the earth, you're unclean. You're unclean scripturally, ceremonially. You know what I mean? You can't teach the word of the Most High. You see what I'm saying? You stick to the letter of the law, then it's going to kill you. But if you stick to the spirit, then you'll live. See that?
Yes, sir.
What else?
I had 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 4.
2 Corinthians 11:4.
It says, 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 4. For if he that cometh preacheth another Yahushai, whom we have not preached, or if ye receive another spirit, which ye have not received, or another gospel, which ye have not accepted, ye might well bear with him.
Right. Because see, if somebody comes in preaching some other doctrine, right? Like you got these cats talking about what was I watching? These cats on the Purple Rain guys, man. They got a video out now talking about Yeah, they go into the Bible and then they're reading it in English and they get to Jesus' name and they start saying Yahweh. That's no different than the churches. Then where they start going into humble like, no, bro, that's not the same thing. We're actually speaking a language, not gibberish. You know what I mean? But he's going against the doctrine that raised him up in saying Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, where you see those words in English. You know what I mean? So we can give honor to the Most High's name in Christ's name. Now he's going in there saying that we're off for saying it in Hebrew. That's not Hebrew, Like, so what? The people that speak in Yiddish, they're official now? He already went into, if you don't have a marriage license, you're not married. So basically, what is he trying to do? He's steering you over toward doing everything Esau's way. Next thing you know, he'll be saying they're not the white man. Esau's not the white man. You know what I mean? So that what? He's an agent. I mean, you already got him. He's a cop. So, I mean, what more do you need? He already works for that system. He already knows that the scriptures say if you're joined to them, you'll be thrust through. So if he's still working for that system, then he's not teaching the scriptures. You know what I mean? If he's still working for that system, like as an enforcer of their laws, he's not enforcing God's laws. You see that? Because now he's over there talking about where the doctrine that raised him up, that made him a general or bishop, whatever he's calling himself now. The doctrine that raised him up, he's now saying is off. So then that means he should give his rank back. That means he should step down because that's who made him a leader. Was the doctrine that says that we say Yahweh Shai when we see Jesus' name in the Bible. But he wants to hold the rank, but he don't want to hold the doctrine. You see that? And that's going to be comfortable for some. It's going to be like, oh, yeah, because I didn't want to say Yahweh Shai anyway. Like I told you about Hebrew, it got too much force in it. It takes work. You got to actually open your mouth. No, I just want to say Jesus. Yeezy. You know what I mean? Jesus is my homeboy. It's easy to talk like that. But Hebrew got a lot more force you got to put into it. See that? So it's going to be comfortable for some when they hear these other doctrines. Oh, it's okay to smoke weed. Shoot, I always want to do that anyway. Okay, but it's also great to study more than you smoke weed. It's also great to do all these other things rather than take you a nice half-hour smoke break, then sleep break, then munchie break. They ain't understanding that you're not just, and then you're back off to work. You know what I mean? You go and get that weed, then what? Then I gotta take a nap. You know what I mean? Now I'm hungry. Now I want to eat everything in the fridge. That's another hour out of my day I just wasted. You know what I mean? Then oh man, now I got the itis. Now I'm back to sleep for another hour or two. You know what I mean? Then I wake up, man, I done wasted the whole day. I'm depressed. Let me smoke some weed. like you just wasted the whole damn day. You think that's scriptural? You think David was walking around doing that? Christ said, the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Think he was on smoke break, passed out, sleep?
He was busy teaching.
Right, too busy to take a smoke break. See that?
Well, they always had a question to ask. People were wearing out his doorstep.
Right. You see, but that doctrine is going to be comfortable for some, and comfortable for a lot. So read that again.
2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 4. For if he that cometh preacheth another Yahweh Shai, whom we have not preached, or if ye receive another spirit which ye have not received, or another gospel which ye have not accepted, ye might well bear it with him.
See, you might actually follow him. You know what I mean? Was it Romans 11? Talks about the election.
Oh, so.
Yeah. Yeah, just read that.
2 Corinthians 11.
Romans 11 and verse 7.
Okay.
Romans chapter 11, verse
7.
verse 7. What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election had obtained it, and the rest were blinded.
Right. And what he's saying is basically the ones that actually want it, they're the ones that obtain it. The ones that don't, they follow these other doctrines. They follow this other madness. See that?
God.
I was looking for the. That's what it was. 9 verse 29.
Romans chapter 9, verse 29. And Esaias said before, except the Lord of Sabbath had left us a seed, we had been as Sodom, and been made like unto Gomorrah.
See that? So what he's saying is, if he hadn't reserved a remnant, we'd be like Sodom and Gomorrah, man. If he hadn't reserved some that was going to stand up for righteousness and stand so stiffly for the Most High, we'd be like Sodom and Gomorrah. We'd be overrun by this wickedness, man. We have the that's the one I was looking for, man. It said where they would deceive the very elect. If it were possible, they would deceive the very elect. I need that one. See that? Because that's the thing is, that's what type of people we're dealing with is in that First Corinthians book. Matthew what?
Matthew 24:24.
Right, get that one. That's what I wanted.
Matthew chapter 24, verse 24. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets.
See that? There's going to be false Christ, right? People acting like they Christ. Then you got false prophets. Cats is going to be wearing the fringes, decking themselves out in purple and all that, acting like they the scriptures. You know what I mean? Talking about, oh yeah, why are they saying Yahweh name? They just like the Christians. Like, no, baby, you just like the Christians talk about marriage licenses and all this stuff. You know what I mean? You just like the Christians talk about, I could work for Esau, tote a gun, lock niggas up, and then come back and try to preach to those same people. You know what I mean? You 5-0, man. Go ahead.
And false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders.
Right, they'll even show great signs and wonders, right? We got billboard in Africa. We the greatest. You know what I mean? Cool. You got billboards in Africa. It said, "Wide is the gate that leadeth to destruction." So, sure, you got members worldwide. That's cool, but you want that wide gate because ain't nobody accepting the real way of the scriptures. See that? Go ahead.
And so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.
Right, where you at?
This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 24.
Right, see that? If it were possible, these cats would deceive the very elect. See that? And that's what you read in the First Corinthians that you pulled, man. Read that again.
2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 4.
That's right, 2 Corinthians 11 and 4. That goes right with that Matthew 24.
For if he that cometh preacheth another Yahweh whom we have not preached, or if ye receive another spirit which ye have not received, or another gospel which ye have not accepted, ye might well bear with him.
See, that's the thing is, because his life is so hard, somebody else might come like, hey, yeah, you can come with us, keep your fringes on, but we're going to do it the easy way. We sleep with other brothers' wives. We swingers over here. We dress in all white, do music videos. We rock all the purple, man, and everywhere we pull the baddest women because all our women are deceived, thinking we only sleep with one woman our whole life. We can do all that. You know what I mean? But that'll sound good to you. You know what I mean? Hey, we baptized. Yeah, I always felt like I wasn't truly saved.
Right.
Because I wasn't dunked underwater. These brothers don't do that. Let me go over there. You know what I mean? If somebody come preaching another doctrine, you might well bear with them. You might be like, yeah, you're right. You know what I mean? Facebook's full of that BS, man. You know, on Facebook, you know, a lot of brothers have been lost already if they stayed on that crap. What you got?
Now, I was just wondering, because I was hearing earlier, because you talking about quoting the letter of the law, and whenever they try to pull that, I see that a lot about the baptism.
Right.
Well, my question is, like a Jew, because it says that they're, like, the carnal, they're not spiritual.
Oh, yeah.
So that's all, can we link that up with the same thing? Because they really don't understand
Yeah,
the word itself.
yeah. They speak of things they know naturally. You know what I mean? As brute beasts. Like, okay, you know naturally that water cleans you up, cleans your body. You know what I mean? So that's what we're gonna live off of. No, bro. It doesn't clean your spirit though.
That's why the wisdom of wickedness is not knowledge.
Right, right.
And any time their counsel proves.
Right.
That's,
Popular.
yeah, 19 and 22. Ecclesiastes 19 and 22. That also goes with that because you got to understand that you're trying to use your basic knowledge, your basic instinct of it. Like, okay, baptism, right? You're going to go all the way down to Galveston where the water is brown.
Right.
When water is supposedly blue, right?
Right.
When the water is murky, brown, black with the oil spill, right?
Right.
And you're going to submerge your body in that and be clean in the name of Yahweh Shai.
Right.
Unto the Most High?
Right.
When you
No, Yeshaya.
Yeshaya,
In the name of Yeshaya.
in the name of Yeshaya, when you couldn't even go into the temple, when the scripture said you couldn't even go into the temple with a drop of sweat,
Right.
but you're going to dip yourself in a murky ocean.
So you don't see that, right?
So the wisdom of the world is stupid.
Because they want to do it their way.
Was that it?
The question?
Yeah.
Hold up. I was gonna pull it back. Ecclesiastes 9:22.
Don't worry about it.
I have two more. Actually, no, that's it.
Alright. Yeah, let's get into the reading, man. Let's get into the reading, man. We got a short time. We're gonna run into to one, and then we're gonna run out. So we get that class out there. Alright, so we're in Job, right?
Go.
Yes, sir. I wasn't good at something.
Is it Job 32?
Wait, what? No.
Yeah, actually. 32. We end up 32.
I think you didn't do the 32. Wait, did you? No.
We did 32, we did 33. Yeah, start at 34. Job chapter 34. Yeah, sorry. So we'll start with you. Read Job 34. Alright. We had already read 32. So we're at 34. Read 34 and 35. Next brother be 36, 37. Alright.
Job chapter 34. Furthermore, Elihu answered and said, Hear my words, O ye wise men, and give ear unto me, ye that have knowledge. For the ear trieth words, and the mouth tasteth meat. Let us choose to us
Right, he
judgment.
said, for the ear tried words as the mouth tasted meat. Alright, so that's when we say we're eating spiritually, you eat with this. Alright? So he said take the book and eat it up, right? It'll be sweet in your mouth and bitter in your belly. It'll be sweet to hear, but when you process it with your mind, that's when it gets bitter. Oh damn, I actually gotta live this, do this. See that? Now it's bitter. So he said the ear tried words as the mouth tasted meat. Go ahead.
Verse 4. Let us choose to us judgment. Let us know among ourselves what is good. For Job hath said, I am righteous, and God hath taken away my judgment. Should I lie against my right? My wound is incurable without transgression. What man is like Job, who drinketh up scorning like water?
Right. So he's basically accusing Job of being a scorner. Like, man, you ain't listening. You don't want to hear the word of the Most High. Like, bro, I heard you, but you're off. Y'all see that? Go ahead.
Verse 8. Which goeth in company with the workers of iniquity, and walketh with wicked men. For he hath said, it profiteth a man nothing that he should delight himself with the Most High. Therefore, hearken unto me, ye men of understanding. Far be it from me, from the Most High, that he should do wickedness, and from the Almighty, that he should commit iniquity. For the work of man shall he render unto him, and cause every man to find according to his ways. Yea, surely the Most High will not do wickedly, neither will the Almighty pervert judgment.
Right, now he's talking like a damn churchgoer, because the Most High said he does create wickedness. You know what I mean? He told you that in Isaiah 47. He told you he makes evil, right? You know what I mean? And he created good. So these guys are off, man. He don't have no understanding. Then he's lying on Job. Job ain't walking with wicked men. Right? See that? Go ahead. Verse 13.
No. Right down, appreciate it. Verse 13. Who have given him a charge over the earth? Or who have disposed the whole world? Verse 14. If he set his heart upon man, if he gather unto himself his spirit and his breath, all flesh shall perish together, and man shall turn again unto dust.
So once again, if the Most High decided to take his breath back, everyone on earth would die. Y'all see that?
No.
He decided that's how you know that his spirit is all and in all, like the scriptures say. It's in everything. It's in every being, every living creature. You understand? That's why he counts people as wicked or evil, because his spirit's in them and they choose to do wickedly. They choose to go against that good spirit he put in them. Y'all see that? Go ahead.
Verse 16. If now thou hast understanding, hear this. Hearken to the voice of my words. Shall even he that hateth right govern? And wilt thou condemn him that is most just? Is it fit to say to a king, thou art wicked, and to princes, thou art ungodly? Verse 19. How much less to him that accepteth not the person of sorry. Let me read that again. How much less to him that accepteth not the person of princes, nor regardeth the rich more than the poor, for they all are the work of his hands. In a moment shall they die, and the people shall be troubled at midnight, and pass away, and the mighty shall be taken away without hand. And for his eyes are upon the ways of man, and he seeth all his goings. There is no darkness, nor shadow of death, where the workers of iniquity may hide themselves. For he will not lay upon man more than right, that he should enter into the judgment of the Most High. He shall break in pieces mighty men without number, and set others in their stead. Therefore he knoweth their works, and he overturneth them in the night, so that they are destroyed. He striketh them as wicked men in the open sight of others, because they turned back from him, and would not consider any of his ways, so that they caused the cry of the poor to come unto him, and he heareth the cry of the afflicted. When he giveth quietness, who then can make trouble? And when he hideth his face.
So when he says there's going to be peace, how you going to make trouble? Yeah, when he decides it's going to be war, you can't stop it. Yeah. Y'all see that? What's that? We're in Job chapter 34.
Verse 29. There you go. You got it, sis? Verse 29. When he giveth quietness, who then can make trouble? And when he hideth his face, who then can behold him? Whether it be done against a nation or against a man only. Verse 30. That the hypocrites reign not, lest the people be ensnared. Surely it is meet to be said unto the Most High, I have borne chastisement. I will not offend any more. That which I see, not teach thou me. If I have done iniquity, I will do no more. Should it be according to thy mind, he will recompense it, whether thou refuse or whether thou choose. And not I, therefore speak what thou knowest. Verse 34. Let men of understanding tell me, and let a wise man hearken unto me. Job hath spoken without knowledge, and his words were without wisdom. My desire is that Job may be tried unto the end because of his answers for wicked men. Verse 37. For he added rebellion unto his sin. He clappeth his hands amongst us, and multiplieth his words against the Most High.
All right. Any questions on that?
What's haters, man?
Yeah, they would hate.
Huh?
They would hate hard.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they definitely hate hard.
It's almost like that's judgment. You say he wishes that Job was tried until the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's he talking to? He's talking to like
This
kings and stuff?
is the young man, Elihu. He's talking to the other two men that came with him and Job.
Oh, he's
They
saying
have
this
they
in
have
front
it like council. It's four of these cats. All right. The three men, the three are supposedly Job's friends and Job. All right. So these other two guys couldn't argue against Job. So this in the young man's opinion, so he get up in his pride and he's trying to answer now. They're trying to basically say that Job is off. All right.
Go.
But he's also saying a bunch of stuff he don't know about because they just got there. And he talking about Job been walking with wicked men and doing all this. No, Job was righteous. You know what I mean? They don't know the mind of the Most High. They don't know what's going on in the heavens. And the Most High was like, have you considered my servant Job?
Right.
That escheweth evil? You know what I mean? That he ain't been messing with no wicked men at all? Go test him out. See that? But once again, this is all that ignorance of it hadn't happened before either. You know what I mean? So for their knowledge, he must be wicked because righteous men, this don't happen to. See that? Go ahead. So we in chapter 35.
Job chapter 35. And Elihu spake moreover and said, thinkest thou this to be right, that thou saidst, my righteousness is more than the Most High's? For thou saidst, what advantage will it be unto thee? And what profit shall I have if I be cleansed from my sin? I will answer thee, and thy companions with thee. Look unto the heavens and see, and behold the clouds which are higher than thou. If thou sinnest, what doest thou against him? Or if thy transgressions be multiplied, what doest thou unto him? If thou be righteous, what givest thou him? Or what receiveth he of thine hand?
Right, so this is for when you get prideful and you think that you've done enough for the truth. No, you haven't. And when you do righteousness, you didn't do that to him. He is righteousness. You understand? They're exactly like, oh, I put some fringes on. The Most High needs to elevate me to the rank of angel. No, bro. You didn't do no righteousness for him. You did it for yourself. You see that? He said, where you at?
No, verse 7.
Yeah,
verse
verse 6. He said, if you sin, what do you do against him? Even if you sin, you do that against your own flesh. You understand? You do that against the people around you. You didn't do nothing to him. He ain't go. Every time you sin, an angel don't lose his wings. You know what I mean? It don't trip up your howl like he sit up there in the heavens like, oh, they sinning again. You understand? You ain't doing nothing to him. That's one, because at a certain point, that spirit hits you like, I'm just gonna do this out of spite. A spite of who? Yourself. You know what I mean? And screw what the Most High said, I'm eating this pork. Like, okay, well, you killing yourself. That trichinosis worm ain't gonna reach through your spirit and hit your hollow.
That's
You see that?
That's like a song.
Right, it's gonna kill you.
There's a Christian song they got where somebody was singing it the other day. It says, "Do you still feel the nails every time I fail?"
Right.
Like, do you,
No.
no, Christ doesn't feel the nails every time you sin.
Right. You know what I mean? They're going over like that crucify Christ and fresh thing, but the thing is no, that's not resonating in the heavens. They just know you messed up. You ain't doing nothing against him. Y'all see that? And if you do righteousness, don't pat yourself on the back. You did that for yourself. You know what I mean? You gained points for yourself. You didn't do nothing to make the Most High more righteous. Y'all see that? Go ahead.
Verse 7. If thou be righteous, what givest thou him? Or what receiveth he of thy hand? Verse 8. Thy wickedness may hurt a man as thou art, and thy righteousness may profit the Son of Man.
See that? Your wickedness, it only hurts the people around you and yourself. That's exactly what he's saying. Your righteousness, that does good for the sons of men. That does good for the people around you. Y'all see that?
No.
Go ahead.
Verse 9. By reason of the multitude of the oppressions they make, and they oppress to cry. They cry out by reason of them. They cry out by reason of the arm of the mighty. But none say, where is the Most High, my Maker, who giveth song in the night, who teacheth us more than the beasts of the earth, and maketh us wiser than the fowls of heaven. They cry, but none giveth answer, because of the pride of evil men. Surely the Most High will not hear vanity, neither will the Almighty regard it. Although thou sayest, thou shalt not see him, yet judgment is before him. Therefore, trust thou in him. But now, because it is not so, he that visited in his anger.
He had visited in his anger. Right?
He hath visited in his anger, yet he knoweth it not in great extremity. Therefore doeth Job open his mouth in vain. He multiplied words without knowledge.
Right. And see, you know, this is what the scriptures say about a man of eloquent words. He's no far in there, but a wise man will catch him when he slips. You see that? Because, you know, these guys sound wise. They sound deep, right? But they ain't no wisdom to what they talking about. And that's why, you know, what we went to in that scripture, that many will go after that. You know what I mean? When you read that 2 Corinthians, right? Yeah, many people are going to go after that. They'll deceive the very elect because they'll have these wise words sound deep and not know a damn thing of what they're saying. All right? So, chapter 36.
Chapter 36. This is Job, chapter 36. Elihu also proceeded and said, suffer me a little, and I will shew thee that I have yet to speak on God's behalf. I will fetch my knowledge from afar, and will ascribe righteousness to my Maker. For truly my word shall not be false. He that is perfect in knowledge is with thee.
See, in that he spoke right. He has yet to speak on the voice on the behalf of the Most High. You know what I mean? All that words he was using was all his words. It didn't have nothing to do with speaking on behalf of the Most High. Because if he did, he would know Job was righteous. That's how you know he's telling on himself right here. Y'all see that? Everything he spoke in 34 and 33 and all, you know, and earlier, he has yet to speak on behalf of the Most High. All right, go ahead.
Verse 5. Behold, God is mighty and despiseth not any.
I said the Most High is what?
The Most High is mighty and despiseth not any.
Okay, he's mighty and he doesn't despise any. Go ahead.
He is mighty in strength and wisdom.
See, that ain't that what the churches do? They go according to their feelings. The Most High does despise many. Y'all see that? But he's like, surely the Most High is righteous. He don't despise nobody. That's that Jesus loved everybody, BS. Go ahead.
Verse 6. He perceiveth not the life of the wicked, but giveth right to the poor. He withdraweth not his eyes from the righteous, but with kings are they on the throne. Yea, he doth establish them forever, and they are exalted. And if they be bound in fetters, and be holden in cords of affliction, then he shewed them their work and their transgressions that they had exceeded. He opened also their ear to discipline, and commanded that they return from iniquity. Verse 11. If they obey and serve him, they shall spend their days in prosperity, and their years in pleasures. Verse 12. But if they obey not, they shall perish by the sword, and they shall die without knowledge. But the hypocrites in the heart keep up wrath. They cry not with the blinded. They cry not when he blinded them. They die in youth, and their life is among the unclean. He delivereth the poor in his affliction, and openeth the ears in oppression. Even so would he have removed thee out of the strait into a broad place, where there is no straightness, and that which should be set on thy table should be full of fatness. Verse 17. But thou hast fulfilled the judgment of the wicked. Judgment and justice take hold on thee, because there is wrath. Beware lest he take thee away with his stroke. Then a great ransom cannot deliver thee. Will he esteem thy riches? No, not gold, nor all the forces of strength. Desire not the night when people are cut off in their place. Take heed, regard not iniquity. For this hast thou chosen rather than affliction. Behold, God exalted by his power, who teaches like him. Who hath enjoyed him his way? Or who can say thou hast wrought iniquity? Verse 24. Remember that thou magnify his work, which men behold. Every man may see it. Man may behold it afar off. Behold, God is great, and we know him not.
You know what? Slap it, man. Come on up, man. I forgot to. That's too long. Come on up. I got something you have.
Zion Allah, Shabbat Shalom, Yahweh, Banya Shalom. Yahweh Shimmy Shabbat Shalom.
Yahweh Shimmy Shabbat Shalom.
Go ahead. Come.
This is Job chapter 36, in verse 26. Behold, God is great, and we know him not. Neither can the number of his years be searched out. Verse 27. For he maketh small the drops of water. They pour down rain according to the vapor thereof. Which the clouds do drop and distill upon man abundantly. Also can any understand the spreading of the clouds, or the noise of his tabernacle? Behold, he spreadeth his light upon it, and covereth the bottom of the sea. For by them judgeth he the people, he giveth meat in abundance. With clouds he covereth the light, and commandeth it not to shine by the cloud that cometh betwixt. The noise thereof sheweth concerning it, the cattle also concerning the vapor.
Right. So verse 26, he said, behold, the Most High is great, and we know him not. Neither can the number of his years be searched out. So when people tell you, oh yeah, who's God's mom? Who created God? Well, his years can't be searched out. See that? You ain't gonna know how you ain't gonna be able to celebrate God's birthday. All right.
I like how they, in verse 27 it said, "For he maketh small the drops of water, and they pour down rain according to the vapor thereof."
Right.
It took scientists how long to realize that the precipitation, the heat makes it vaporizes and goes up and forms a cloud, and the rain
Right.
comes
The
down.
water cycle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the water cycle.
It have been right there.
The scriptures told you that the whole time. That's how.
All right. So where we at? Chapter 37.
Come.
You already read 2 or?
No.
Okay. Go ahead.
This is Job chapter 37.
Any questions on 36?
Verse 16.
36 verse 16.
I may have not reading right.
Even so, would he have removed thee out of the strait into a broad place, where there is no straightness, and that which should be set on thy table should be full of fatness.
Right. See, so he's basically saying, when you read verse 15, he said he delivered the poor in his affliction and opened their ears in oppression. So he's like, basically, if you was righteous, the Most High would have delivered you out of this. See that? Like, you don't know that, okay, if you're still alive, the Most High has delivered you out of it. What's that?
No, because I'm in my mind I'm thinking about the broad gate. I'm thinking about the broad gate, or what does it say? The broad place.
16.
So I guess, yeah, because you said where there's no straightness. So obviously,
that's straight. Strait is talking about dangerous. So he would have took you out of dangerous places and put you in a broad place. See that? He said where there is no straightness, where there's no danger. See that? Basically saying if you were righteous, he'd take you out of that situation. He put you in a nice, comfortable situation. No, you don't. These guys don't know the mind of the Most High. See that? Yeah, he often takes brothers out their comfort zone and put them in a situation where they might not want to be in, but they do it. See that? Where we at? 37. Chapter 37.
Chapter 37. At this also my heart trembleth and is moved out of his place. Hear attentively the noise of his voice and the sound that goeth out of his mouth. He directeth it under the whole heaven, and his lightning unto the ends of the earth. After it a voice roareth. He thundereth with the voice of his excellence. And he will not stay them when his voice is heard. God thundereth marvelously with his voice. Great things doth he, which we cannot comprehend. For he said to the snow, Be thou on the earth, likewise to the small rain, and the great rain of his strength. He sealeth up the hand of every man, that all men may know his work. Then the beasts go into dens, and remain in their places. Out of the south cometh the whirlwind, and cold out of the north. By the breath of God frost is given, and the breadth of the waters is straightened. Also by watering he worrieth the thick cloud. He scattereth his bright cloud. And it is turned round about by his counsels, that they may do whatsoever he commanded them upon the face of the world and the earth. He causeth it to come, whether for correction, or for his land, or for mercy. Hearken unto this, O Job. Stand still, consider the wondrous works of God. Dost thou know when God disposed them, and caused the light of his cloud to shine?
Yeah.
Verse 12. It said, and it is turned around about by his counsel, that they may do whatsoever he commanded. He commanded them upon the face of the world and the earth. So he's talking about a set of people, right?
Talking about clouds.
No, I mean, but when it said world,
I'm going off the definition of world, right? In the face of the earth.
Nah, he's talking about the face of the earth. He just explained the clouds. They go by what he tells them to do, and they go around the whole face of the earth according to how he wants them to go. See that?
Oh,
Yeah, he's actually talking about the earth, not talking about the world like Israel.
okay. Because that's what I was thinking. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you good? Go ahead.
Well, verse 16.
Uh-huh.
Come on, this is going to be Job chapter 37 verse 16. Dost thou know the balances of the clouds and the wondrous works of him which is perfect in knowledge? How thy garments are worn when he quieted the earth by the south wind. Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong, and as a molten looking glass? Teach us what we shall say unto him, for we cannot order our speech by reason of darkness. Shall it be told him that I speak? If a man speak, surely he shall be swallowed up. And now men see not the bright light which is in the clouds, but the wind passeth and cleanseth them. Fair weather cometh out of the north. With God is terrible majesty. Touching the Almighty, we cannot find him out. He is excellent in power and in judgment and in plenty of justice. He will not afflict. Men do therefore fear him. He respecteth not any that are wise of heart.
Question. Verse 22. It said the second precept. It said, "With God is terrible majesty." And then verse 23 it says, "Touching the Almighty." So is he talking about the Most High and Yahushua?
He's still talking about the Most High. I
He's
mean,
just-
basically, remember these are all in one. All anybody knows of the Most High, they learn through Christ.
That's what.
See what I'm saying? So but at the same time, they know through the works of Christ on the earth and everything that, okay, the Most High, he's mighty, he's powerful.
God, so that's why I was thinking, like, would they be talking about the Most High? And because the Almighty, that's one of Christ's names, right?
No, the Almighty is one of the Most High's name. That's what they give him.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so you're just referring to the Most High. So you would just call him the Most High, but then you might use a different name.
Right. The Most High is terrible majesty, touching the Almighty. Yeah, these are all his names. All right.
So they didn't know, but they knew Yahushua.
Yeah, he's been around. He's been here before.
As a son, or is it some form of fashion of?
Yes. Where we at?
I got a question.
Go ahead.
It's verse 16, when it says, does thou know the balance of the clouds, the wondrous works of, sorry, that was good. It's actually 18. Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong and as a molten looking glass? When it says it's a molten looking glass, what does that mean?
That's talking about that dome. All right. Yeah.
So like, this is a good one to link with the firmament.
Right.
Back in
Genesis. There you go. Any other questions? Like I said, there's a lot of science in Job, man. Some I want to touch on, some I can't. So, was that it? All right. Will you finish 37?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's salute in the next brother so we can read 38. Rayon.
Rayon Shabbat Show, Bun Yum Bun Yahoo. Hey, Rayon Shabbat Show, Bun Yum.
Slow down.
Re'ah Shabbat Shah.
Re'ah Shabbat Shatal.
Shabbat Shaw. Shabbat Shaw. Sha. Sha. Ba. Ba. Ta. Ka. Ta. Ta. Shaw. Sha. Ba. Ta. Shaw. Ka. Ta.
Re'ah Shabbat
Shabbat Shaw.
Re'ah Shabbat
Sha. It's okay.
Shabbat Shah.
Re'ah Shabbat Shaw. Re'ah Shabbat Shaw. Ban Yamyan Ban Yasharala. Yehovah Hashem Yashad Rakatah.
Yehovah Hashem Yashad Rakatah.
I thought I had it.
Yeah, it's gonna come. Practice. All right.
We're on Job chapter 38. Again, if you got any questions on the read, go ahead and hit us up on the chat right there, on the YouTube chat live, or you can text 832-941-2443 if you got questions on the read. All right.
Job chapter 38, verse 1. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, Who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me. Where was thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare, if thou hast understanding. Who hath laid the measures thereof? If thou knowest, or who has stretched the line upon it? Whereupon the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Or who shut up the sea with doors, when it break forth, as if it had issued out of the womb? When I made the cloud the garment thereof, and thick darkness a swaddling band for it, and break up for it by decree place, and set bars and doors, and said, Hitherto shalt thou come, but no further, and here shall thy proud ways be stayed. Hast thou commanded the morning since thy days, and caused the day spring to know his place, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, that the wicked might be shaken out of it. It is turned as clay to the seal, and they stand as a garment, and from the wicked their light is withholden, and the high arm shall be broken. Hast thou entered into the springs of the sea, or hast thou walked in the search of the depth? Haven't the gates of death been open? Have the gates of death been opened unto thee? Hast thou seen the doors of the shadows of death? Hast thou perceived the breadth of the earth? Declare, if thou knowest it all, where is the way where light dwelleth? And as for darkness, where is the place thereof? That thou shouldest take it to the bound thereof, and that thou shouldest know the paths to the house thereof. Knowest thou it because thou wast then born, or because the number of thy days is great? Hast thou entered into the treasures of the snow, or hast thou seen the treasures of the hail, which I have reserved against the time of trouble, against the day of battles and war? By what way is the light parted, which scattered the east wind upon the earth? Who hath divided a water course for the overflow of waters, or a way for the lightning of thunder? To cause it to rain on the earth, where no man is, on the wilderness, wherein there is no man, to satisfy the desolate and waste ground, and to cause the blood of the tender herd to spring forth. Has the rain a father, or who hath begotten the drop of dew? Out of whose womb came the ice, and the hoary frost of heaven, who has gendered it? The waters are hid as with a stone, and the face of the deep is frozen. Canst thou Canst thou bind the sweet influence of Pleiades or loose the bands of Orion?
Right, so he's talking about that Orion's belt, the star constellations. He had knowledge of those things. Y'all see that? The Pleiades is the 7 stars that make up Orion's belt. Y'all see that? So he's asking these questions. You know, we didn't call them that. They had different names in Hebrew. I think one of them was like we call it Shar. We didn't call it Orion. It's called Shar in Hebrew. Or they say S-A-R. It means prince. So when we looked up, we called that constellation the prince. We didn't call it Orion. Y'all see that? So when you look that word up in Hebrew, that Orion, you should say like Sar or Shar. Alright? But we knew about those constellations. We invented all that. So that's some more, you know, edification showing we had knowledge way back then of all these things. Alright? But the Most High is asking, did you set that stuff up? I did that. See that? He's asking him through Christ. When it said the Lord came and he answered Job, he's asking through Christ, like, did you do any of these things? Oh, sorry. That's in a different part. Yeah, Kayama, the Pleiades, a constellation of 7 stars. See that? And that's on the Pleiades, right? This one's Orion.
I got it. Orion is Kessel.
Cassiel, yeah.
Cassiel.
Right. And that one's what you know as a constellation Orion. So we have different names for these things in Hebrew. Alright? There's another one that they call Sar or Shar or something like that. But I'd have to find that for you. But see, he's going through these things and showing them we had knowledge of all these star systems. We had knowledge of all these constellations and planets and everything like that. And they're barely coming out with this now. 1900s, they're barely looking through telescopes and saying, oh, there's these other things out there. Right? We've been on that. What's that?
So we go back to verse 8. Again.
Where you 37 verse 8?
38 verse 8. 38 verse 8.
Oh, 38 verse 8?
Job chapter 38, verse 8. Or who shut up the sea with doors, and when it break forth, as if it had issued out of the womb?
So, is this talking about the firmament, or is it literally talking about the sea?
So they shut up the sea with doors? Yeah, basically there's spots in the ocean where there's like other water. There's spots in like caves underneath the oceans and everything like that, right? Where you find more bodies of water, like lakes and other oceans, even underneath the earth. You understand? And he shuts those up, and when he wants it to flood, those open up. You understand? Then he got the windows of heaven. Right. He opens those up. That comes in from outside that glass. Right. See that? Right. So all this is being explained in the scriptures.
You see the gods in Egypt there?
Nah.
That's exactly how they put that, because they travel to space to talk to one of the elder gods, right?
Yeah.
And he's in a boat and he's rowing. It rows.
Right.
To symbolize that space that's in outer space. Right. It's still water.
Right.
That's high.
I see that.
Where you at? Was that it?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Job chapter 38, verse 31. Canst thou bind the sweet influence of Pleiades or loose the bands of Orion? Canst thou bring forth Mazzaroth in his season? Or canst thou guide Arcturus with his sons? Knowest thou the ordinances of heaven? Canst thou set the dominion thereof in the earth? Canst thou lift up thy voice to the clouds, that abundance of waters may cover thee? Canst thou send lightnings, that they may go and say unto thee, here we are? Who hath put wisdom in the inward parts? Or who hath given understanding to the heart? Who can number the clouds in wisdom? Or who can say the bottoms of heaven? When the dust groweth into hardness, and the clods cleave fast together, wilt thou hunt the prey for the lion, or fill the appetite of the young lions, when they couch in their dens, and abide in the covert to lie in wait? Who provided for the raven his flood, when his young ones cry unto God?
Right. So that word, where you at 30?
Verse 33,
Nazareth.
32.
38 verse 32.
Yeah.
Yeah, canst thou bring forth Maserah in his seasons? Maserah is the 12 signs of the zodiac and the 36 associated constellations. Y'all see that? All right. And then what else did he say? Arcturus, right? Or can you guide Arcturus with his sons? All right, Arcturus, or let's see, Ayash, right? Constellation, the Great Bear, Ursa Major, right? That's what they call it. They call it the Great Bear or Ursa Major, right? That's what they call it. That's what the Greeks call it. All right, Ayash is man. Y'all see that? So that's what we call it. We call it the man. They call it the Great Bear or Ursa Major. Y'all see that? So we gave names to all the constellations before they did. What's that?
What was Maserati again?
Maserati was the 12 signs of the zodiac and their 36 constellations. Say corresponding constellations.
Associated constellations.
Right, associated constellations. 36.
36. What's the constellation?
Star groups of stars. So you got like you might have the sign of the zodiac. You might have the Scorpio, right? Or you might have the Cancer, right? Well, the constellation associated with it is the star group that looks like the Scorpion, right? And then there's other star groups in there. You understand? Yeah.
So you have 12 stars that look like the signs of the zodiac, but then inside of those 12 signs, you have more groups of stars.
Right.
Oh, you know what's so crazy? Dang, now I understand. Oh, it just came back to mind. They were saying that Issachar had the understanding of the zodiac, but obviously Job is.
They had knowledge of the stars and which way Israel should go, right?
Right.
Job's Issachar.
Right.
So that should tell you right there. If the scripture tell you that Issachar had knowledge of the stars and which way Israel will go, right? Job is not an Edomite. Issachar had knowledge of the stars.
Right.
All right. So he's that Issacharite that you read about in Genesis. Where we at?
We're in Job 38, verse 41.
All right.
Who provided for the raven his flood when his young ones cry unto God? They wandered for lack of meats. Job chapter 39, verse 1. Knowest thou the time when the wild goats of the rock bring forth, or canst thou mark when the hinds do calve? Canst thou number the months that they fulfill, or knowest thou the time when they bring forth? They bow themselves, they bring forth their young ones, they cast out their sorrows. Their young ones are in good liking. They grow up with corn, they go forth and return not unto them. Who has sent out the wild ass free, or who hath loosed the bands of the wild ass? Whose house I have made the wilderness, and the barren laid his dwelling. He scorneth the multitude of the city, neither regardeth he the crying of the driver. The range of the mountains is his pasture, and he searcheth after every green thing. Will the unicorn be willing to serve thee, or abideth by thy crib? Canst thou bind the unicorn with his band in the furrow, or will he harrow the valleys after thee? Wilt thou trust him because his strength is great, or wilt thou leave thy labor to him? Wilt thou believe him that he will bring home thy seed and gather it into thy barn? Gavest thou the goodly wings unto the peacocks, or wings and feathers unto the ostrich, which leaveth her eggs in the earth and warmeth them in dust, and forgetteth that the foot may crush them, or that the wild beast may break them? She is hardened against her young ones, as though they were not hers. Her labor is in vain without fear. Because
again, this is the Most High asking Job all these questions. Did you give the peacock or did you give the ostrich her wings? Did you do these things? I did that. I made foolish things like the ostrich right? That'll leave their eggs in the dirt and walk off and don't know that somebody might crush them. I made those things. I made the wise and the foolish. Y'all see that? So he's letting you know, he's letting everybody know before you get prideful, you didn't make nothing. Y'all see that? You didn't set nothing in the balance. You didn't make no stars. You didn't make nothing. All right? Go ahead. What's that?
Before in verse 6, when it says, probably a little bit higher, but it says, whose house have I made the wilderness and barren land dwelling? But then he starts talking about the range and the mountains and the pastures. Is he actually talking about Esau right there? Or he's talking about just
it says,
men in general?
read verse 5. It says, who has set out the wild ass free? Or who hath loosed the bands of the wild ass? So it's talking about the wild donkeys. See that? The ass is a donkey. Right. So he's saying, whose house I have made the wilderness. That's where the wild asses live. They live in the wilderness. It said in the barren land his dwellings.
Weren't donkeys a mixed breed?
Yeah. A mule and a horse.
There was always.
It didn't say that, but you know, if that's what they're telling you, then that's what it is. But that's where they live. Y'all see that? They live in the wilderness. They don't like the city. That's what he keeps on going on to say, right? Whose house I have made the wilderness and the barren land his dwellings. He scorned the multitude of the city, neither regarded he the crying of the driver. So this is going back to also Balaam. Balaam was riding on the donkey, right? So this is going back to that time. He didn't care if the Balaam kept kicking him and beating him and all that stuff. He's like, I can't go. There's an angel right there. See that? So he's giving you these kind of stories also. He's dropping you this kind of wisdom. But we didn't crossbreed no animals, but we had donkeys in the scripture. So wherever you get that information from, that it's a horse breeding with a what?
A mule. A mule. Isn't a mule a horse though?
Mule's a donkey, I thought.
So you can't have a donkey and a horse mix. Wouldn't that just?
Those are two different breeds of animals, man. Obviously, they've been around for a long time.
Because
So
that would be against the scriptures to mix breed.
we didn't do that. But, you know, there might have been other nations that did, but we didn't do it. And, you know, going back as far as Balaam dealing with us, going back as far as Job, before we went into Egypt, you got donkeys running around.
Yeah, the Gospel says from Egypt, Mesopotamia.
Huh?
It says Egypt or Mesopotamia, that they were first domesticated in Egypt or Mesopotamia.
Right. See that? And we know Mesopotamia go back farther than Egypt. Where you at?
Job chapter 39, verse 17.
All right.
Because God hath deprived her of wisdom, neither hath he imparted of her understanding. What time she lifted up herself on high, she scorned the horse and his rider. Hast thou given the horse strength? Hast thou clothed his neck with thunder? Canst thou make him afraid as a grasshopper? The glory of his nostrils is terrible. He pawed in the valley, and rejoiceth in his strength. He goeth on to meet the armed men. He mocketh at fear, and is not affrighted. Neither turn he back from the sword. The quiver rattleth against him. The glittering spear and the shield. He swallowed the ground with fierceness and rage. Neither believeth he that it is the sound of the trumpet.
Question. The verse 23, the quiver rattle is against it, and the glittering spear and the shield. Is that talking about that's a symbol of?
That's still the horse. Yeah, that's still the horse. That's when you put all your weapons on it. It rattles when he runs.
Right.
Yeah, everything right there is talking about the horse. So some things ain't that deep. He's just giving you this. Did you make this? Did you do that? I did that. You know what I mean? Did you make him so strong and powerful, but at the same time he can be afraid of something? You know what I mean?
So it sounds like thunder when he's running, but he's still scared like a grasshopper.
Right. See that? You didn't do that. I did that. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Verse 24. He swallowed the ground with fierceness and rage. neither believeth he that it is the sound of the trumpet. He saith among the trumpets, Ha ha, and he smelleth the battle afar off, the thunder of the captains and the shoutings. Doth the hawk fly by thy wisdom, or stretch her wings toward the south? Doth the eagle mount up at thy command, and make her nest on high? She dwelleth and abideth on the rock, upon the crag of the rock, and the strong place. From thence she seeketh the prey, and her eyes behold afar off. Her young ones also suck up blood, and where the slain are, there is she.
That's it? That was you too?
Yes, sir.
Any questions? Or any of that? All right. Let's see. So we're at chapter what, 40? All right. So let's get ready up here.
Read Sabbath to show. Bun Yasha'Allah.
Ready? Shabbat to Shalom. Yahweh.
Read Sabbath to show. Yahawada. Bun Yasha'Allah. Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Come.
Job chapter 40, verse 1. Moreover, the Lord answered Job and said, Shall he that contended with the Almighty instruct him? He that reproved God, let him answer it. Then Job answered the Lord and said, Behold, I am bowed. What shall I answer thee? I will lay my hand upon my mouth. Once have I spoken, but I will not answer.
See, so when Yahushua made himself known to them, when he started speaking for the Most High to Job, Job was like, "What can I say to you? You know what I mean? There ain't nothing I can say." You know, see that? So this is how you know his humility, because he knew to shut up around Christ. You know what I mean? That's how you know that these guys are off from what they were saying about it, because he knew when the Most High came, when the Lord came, you know what? It's time for me to shut up. What you got to say? Y'all see that? Go ahead.
I will lay my hand upon my mouth. Once have I spoken, but I will not answer. Yea, twice, but I will proceed no further. Then answered the Lord unto Job out of the whirlwind, and said, Gird up thy loins now like a man. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. Wilt thou also disannul my judgment? Wilt thou condemn me, that thou mayest be righteous? Verse 9. Hast thou an arm like God, or canst thou thunder with a voice like him? Deck thyself now with majesty and excellency, and array thyself with glory and beauty. Cast abroad the rage of thy wrath, and behold, every one that is proud and abase him. Verse 12. Look on every one that is proud, one bring him low, and tree down the wicked.
This is how you know it wasn't the Most High when it said that then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind. This is how you know it wasn't him, because he said, "Have you an arm like the Most High? Have you an arm like God?" So this was Christ speaking to Job out of that whirlwind, that same whirlwind that led us out of Egypt. You understand? That same whirlwind that came and grabbed up Elijah, the same one Ezekiel saw. This is that whirlwind, that what you would call a UFO or chariots. Got it? Alright, I knew you was going there. He said, but he, this is Christ speaking. He said, deck thyself now with majesty and excellency. So he's like, listen, get up. You know what I mean? Stop sulking, stop crying. Everything's gonna be okay. It's Christ having to comfort him and show these guys that are around him to listen. He didn't do nothing wicked. Y'all see that? Go ahead.
Verse 11. Cast abroad the rays of thy wrath, and behold, every one that is proud and abase him, look on every one that is proud, and bring him low, and tread down the wicked in their place. Hide them in the dust together, and bind their faces in secret. Then will I also confess unto thee that thine own right hand can save thee. Behold, Behemoth, which I made with thee, he eateth grass as an ox. Lo now, his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. He moveth his tail like a cedar, and the sinews of his stones are wrapped together. His bones are as strong pieces of brass. His bones are like bars of iron. He is the chief of the ways of God.
Right. So when they this behemoth is what you would know as Godzilla now. All right. When you watch Cloverfield and you see that big giant monster thing coming, and they think they're gonna destroy him by hitting him with a nuke, hitting him with bombs. You know what I mean? How did they kill him, man? They call him Godzilla or call him King Kong or something. How did they kill him in the movie?
They never killed him.
I think he went back to the water.
You went back to the water. Right. What you call it? The one in Cloverfield.
Oh yeah, they tried when he came to New York. They tried to bomb him, and then all he did was he jumped above the clouds.
Right, right.
Explosion.
But this is telling you that his bones are as strong as pieces of brass. His bones are like bars of iron. See that? He moves his tail like a cedar, like a tree.
And the sinew, that's inside
The
the.
sinews, your tendons, the sinews of his bones are wrapped together. You see that?
Right.
You ain't breaking this dude. You ain't bombing him. You don't win. What's that?
I thought Leviathan was Godzilla.
You got Leviathan is the monster of the sea. All right, and then you got Behemoth, which is the one on land. So basically, when they made Godzilla, they made it both. He comes out of the water and he comes on land too. See that? But no, you got Behemoth on land and Leviathan in the sea. I don't know if there's one in the air.
I was reading. I was reading like the not encyclopedia. What's the Wikipedia?
Mm-hmm.
They showed a picture and it's basically God leaning on the cloud and he's playing with Behemoth and he's playing with Leviathan. But then they said there was one in the air. I didn't know the reference to the scripture.
Right. Anybody else? Yeah, I don't know if there's one for there. I haven't heard of that. Where you at?
Job chapter 40, verse 19.
Go ahead.
He is the chief of the ways of God. He that made him can make his sword to approach unto him. Surely the mountains bring him forth food, where all the beasts of the field play. He lies under the shady trees in the cover of the reed and fens. Verse 22. The shady trees cover him with their shadows. The willows of the brook compass him about. Behold, he drinketh up a river, and has it not. He trusteth that he can draw up the Jordan unto his mouth. He taketh it with his eyes. His nose pierced through snares.
See, the Strong's Concordance has it as just a water buffalo, right? That's what the Strong's has. That's why you got to get multiple dictionaries on these things. Yeah, it says behemoth, a water ox, that is the hippopotamus or Nile horse, right? Right. See, but then when you go to the Brown's Driver Briggs, it says a diplodocus or brachiosaurus, exact meaning unknown. See that? See if they got another.
Yeah, because you got the most high, like,
All right.
stretched out.
Right. So that's why you got to get multiple kind of dictionaries and multiple kind of ways of looking at things, because some people just go only off of Strong's and they get the wrong definition of things. Y'all see that? All right. Go ahead.
Chapter 41, verse 1. Canst thou draw out Leviathan? Oh, Salah. Canst thou draw out Leviathan?
Yeah.
Oh, is it
Leviathan?
Okay. Leviathan with an hook, or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down? Canst thou put an hook into his nose, or bone his jaw through with a thorn? Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird?
1 second. Go ahead.
And is this still Christ speaking? Is this still Christ speaking?
Yeah.
Or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall the compassions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay thine hand upon him. Remember the battle. Do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even as the sight of him? None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is abide to stand before me? Who have prevented me that I should repay him? Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not conceal his part, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. Verse 13. Who can discover the face of his garment, or who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his gates? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, shut up together as with a closed seal.
Where we at?
Job chapter 41, verse 16.
Right.
One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another. They stick together that they cannot be sundered. By his neesing, a light doeth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and spark of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke, as out of a seething pot or cardinal. Cardinal. Is it cardinal? Cauldron.
Right. Cauldron.
Cauldron. His breath kindles coals, and a flame goeth out of his mouth. In his neck remnant strength, and sorrow is turned into joy before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together. They are firm in themselves. They cannot be moved. His heart is as firm as a stone, yeah, as hard as a piece of the nether millstone. Verse 25. When he raiseth up himself, the mighty are afraid. By reason of breaking, they purify themselves. The sword of him that layeth as him cannot hold. The spear, the dart, nor the hard virgin. Verse 27. He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. Though arrow cannot make him flee. Slinging stones are turned with him into stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He laughed at the shaking of a spear. Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp pointed things upon the mire. He maketh the deep of boils of deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. He maketh a path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be pouring upon earth. There is not his light, who is made without fear. He beholdeth all high things. He is a king over all the children of Christ.
That is Godzilla. Ooh, true and through.
Right. See, a lot of these dictionaries, they trying to make him like he's just a crocodile. You know what I mean? They're trying to make it, oh, it's just a crocodile and a hippopotamus. Then you go to that Brown Striper Briggs, he makes him out that he's a large undersea creature, a dragon or a monster. Y'all see that?
Yeah, I'm not clear on verse 14.
Verse 14, Job 41.
Yeah,
So we're at 41 verse 14.
21 verse 14.
Job.
Oh, I read it.
Job chapter 41 and verse 14. Who can open up the doors of his face?
Who can open his mouth? Right? Now, if that is a crocodile, same problem. You know what I mean? It's hard to pry his mouth open. You know what I mean? They got that one video where the dude stick his head in the crocodile's mouth and it snaps shut. Now his mouth is still this wide open and the dude's head is in here and they got the other dude trying to put a stick in there and pry it open and they trying to pull it. They got like 4 or 5 dudes jump on this thing trying to pull his mouth apart. They couldn't open it. You understand? So, you know, if you take something just that small as the crocodile, if he's talking about that, you can't pry his mouth open. You can't open the doors of his face.
So what give him so much strength?
The Most High. That's what Christ is asking. Did you give him that strength? Did you do that? Can you pull out Leviathan with a hook? You know what I mean? Like, can you go fishing for a crocodile or something as big as Leviathan's gonna be and be able to pull him out the water? No. Like, you can't even do it with a crocodile. See that?
What is his purpose?
This animal's purpose, he's gonna bring them up in the end. They're gonna help destroy this. That's why they keep making movies, like I said, like Godzilla, like what Mothra they got
Cloverfield,
right.
Pacific Rim.
Yeah, they keep shooting all these movies out because they know these beasts that the Most High is gonna send, they can't stop them. Y'all see that?
That's what
So-
I heard about the spears and stuff.
Yeah. All they spears, all they rockets, they missiles that ain't gonna have no effect on them. And when you watch these movies that they make, when you watch the 4 different Godzillas they done made, they can't stop him. They keep trying to hit him. They try to hit him with nukes. He eats that. You know what I mean? He absorbs that, and spits out fire on people. This is the animals they know the Most High got waiting for them. He got them hidden. You understand? And then there was this thing I was watching. It wasn't during Shark Week, but it was related to trying to find the biggest shark or whatever. But you got Megalodon, which is what you seen on Jurassic Park, right? There's an animal under the sea that make Megalodon look like a guppy. All right. they tracked this thing. They tried to shoot it with a tracker, right? It came up. It was in a 30-foot boat, right? It came up. One of them, it bit a 30-foot boat in half. So it just opened its mouth, snapped it in half, you know what I mean? It just ate the whole boat, middle of the boat out, and the boat was in two pieces. They was in another one. It was like a 40-foot, 30, 50-foot boat that they were trying to track animals with. So they were out there. They shot all this blood and stuff into the water. They were trying to catch this thing, right? So they shot out like 5 miles worth of blood and chum and all that. They call it chum, like fish parts. Shot that out into the water so that sharks and big animals like that would smell that. And they waited all day, and it was nighttime, and this thing came up, and the shadow of it made the boat look like a toy, man. You know what I mean? The shadow of it coming up, and then they passed by him, and the lady was in the cage on the side of the boat, and it just swam by. All it did was swim by slow, and knocked the cage like 100 feet behind the boat. She just tumbled. You see the camera just going like this, just spinning like this. And then she finally slowed down, and they saw like the last part of it. And they shot it. She was able to shoot it with the tracker, and this thing started descending, right? And I think the lowest like sharks and the biggest animals they've tracked can go down as like 5,000. It's like 5,000 feet or something like that. This thing did that in like 30 seconds. It was like, then it went down so far that the tracker went out. So it was down. I think they said it was down like 30, 40,000 feet, 50,000 feet.
Like the pressure up just killed the tracker?
Yeah. You know what I mean? And then they never saw it again. So they got this animal. They know this animal's out there. That's what they saw.
What, like 10 miles down?
Yeah. It's down there. You know what I mean? But they know it. They know it's down there. They try to, I think 5,000 feet is 1 mile, right? 5,280. That's Colorado. We come out of there, the mile high city, right? So you got 5,280 feet. That's a mile. All right. So this thing was down 2 miles, 3 miles when they was tracking. Actually, I'm sorry, it's further than that. Yeah. So it's down there. They know it. They try to conjure them up and everything like that, but they don't want no part of that, man. You know what I mean? They do not want no kind of part of that. Where we at? Shalom, sister. You got a question?
Yeah, I know I came in late, but can you tell me the topic and like kind of?
Oh, we're just doing the Job reading.
Okay.
We're finishing up the Job reading this week. We went right into that. We did a couple questions.
Golly. And then so but you said the spears and the weapons represent even modern time. Esau trying to fight against them.
Right.
I didn't get that.
Where you at? What was
You
that?
said the spears and
Yeah, find that scripture where it talks about the spear and all that. It's not going to basically do anything. They basically just bounce off the scales
That's
of this thing.
41 and verse 7.
41 verse 7. Read that.
No, not 7.
It's verse 30.
Verse 30, go ahead.
41 verse 30. Sharp stones are under him. He spread his sharp points things upon the mire.
Where you say 41 verse what?
No, start at verse 28.
Verse 28. The arrow cannot make him flee. Slinging stones are turned with him into stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He laughed at the shaking of a spear.
Right. See, so normally, if certain animals, you try to hit them with that harpoon or whatever, they see that, they can get away. This one just look at you like, man, like you better have something bigger than that. You see that?
like what they used on him, was that something they used for like wells?
The things he's saying, the things there that the Most High is saying that he'll laugh at is stuff you would use on whales and alligator, the stuff. You can harpoon a whale, you can harpoon a dolphin, a crocodile, anything, right? A manatee, Tesla harpooned all kinds of animals. This thing laughs at that. You understand? Like they see sharks, they'll see a diver with a spear or a harpoon or whatever, they'll swim away. You know what I mean? But this thing laughs at that. It's like, and you shoot it with that, it's gonna bounce off just the scales of this thing. All right. Ain't no animal that they found yet that'll do that.
They can't really kill it.
Huh?
They can't really kill it.
No, they can't kill it. The Most High meant it for a purpose. Y'all see that?
So why did he sit down the monsters again?
Huh?
Why did he sit down the creatures like?
I mean, they've been here. He got them hidden in the earth. He got a land one and a sea one.
I think
Yeah, they're meant for the destruction because you see these movies that they're making. Who usually ends up conjuring these things up? Esau. You know what I mean? And like I said, I watched that video and these cats shot. It was a 5 mile radius that they shot. So they shot so much fish guts and blood all into the water trying to get this thing to appear. You know what I mean? And they messed up and actually got it to appear. Y'all see that? Now a shark can smell a drop of blood in underwater like for like 5 miles. They shot 5 miles worth of blood and guts into the water. So this thing smelled that from where it was and came up, and they didn't want to mess with that. Yeah, that chick was shaking. She thought she was about to die, man. Nah, you know, let's see. Nah, this thing makes the Megalodon look like that.
Where was the location of where they did this song?
Man, I gotta pull that video up for you, man. You can actually look them up online. It's I know there's Megalodon. You can look that up, but you can look up like world's biggest sea creature or something like that.
on YouTube.
It's been a while since it was on YouTube that I seen. But yeah, it was an actual documentary. They either put it on the news or on TV, and these cats went out there trying to do the documentary of it. And yeah, that thing flipped her in the cage. Like a shark, they'll bump into the cage, right? This thing flipped the cage like 30, 40 times, man. She just rolled like she got hit by a damn Mack truck or something. Yeah, it's stuff like that. But you know, these I think are the fictional ones, but they're representing how big this thing is. But yeah, I mean, basically, because Megalodon could eat like a great white. This thing could inhale the Megalodon. It just probably come out one of his gills or something. All right.
Hey, what do it mean? It says he is the king over all the children of pride.
Yeah, because all the children of pride is going to be trying to come against him. The so-called white man is going to be trying to shoot him down. That's why they put out stuff like Godzilla. They think they're going to fight against this. Cloverfield. They think they're going to be able to fight against it. So he's going to be a king over them. He's going to be like, yeah, you children of pride are funny, man. You see that? They do the same thing with the UFOs. You know what I mean? They put out Independence Day, all these different movies to show like they win. You know what I mean? No, y'all not gonna win. When the chariots come, those are gonna be angels. When this Leviathan comes, it's not gonna be Godzilla and he's gonna wipe out your enemy and then go back into the sea. What's that?
Made me think of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 16.
What's
It
that?
said, but ungodly men with their works and their words called it to them.
Right.
Talking about that death.
Right.
Because they got that pride, like, you know what, we can handle this, we can deal with that. Let me bring him out. You know what I mean? Where's he at? Yes. And they thought it says, for when they thought it to have it, their friends, they consumed to naught.
Right. They think Godzilla's gonna be their buddy. You know what I mean? He's gonna come out, wipe out Mothra for him, and then go back to the sea into his little cave or whatever. That's not how it's gonna go down. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna come there to destroy.
That's why he's an apex. That's why they call it an apex predator, to show that he's dominant in everything.
Where we at?
That they speak of in Revelation? Or
Yeah.
it's something different?
Yeah, I mean, they speak of a lot of different things in Revelation, but where specific?
As far as the earth opened up and the creatures come from the bottom or something like that. I may be saying it wrong.
Yeah, I'd have to find it for you because it's in Revelation too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to find it for you. It's been a while since I really went into that. Where we at? 42?
42 chapter.
You did that?
I mean, that's you. I mean, I did too.
Oh, everybody did too? All right. Cool. So I'll do Job chapter 42. All right, Job chapter 42, verse 1. Then Job answered the Most High, Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that thou canst do everything, and that no thought can be withholden from thee. Who is he that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understood not, things too wonderful for me, which I knew not. So what he's saying is, when I was talking about all that, man, I wish person the day I was born and all this stuff, I was talking about things I don't get, I don't understand. You know what I mean? I didn't understand my situation, I don't get it. Y'all see that? Because Job didn't understand why he was going through the things he's going through.
So basically, you're like complaining about your troubles, and then Yahweh Shai comes and asks you, or he sends somebody to ask you, like, okay, do you even understand this?
Right,
Do you understand what you're complaining about?
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. That's why Christ was asking him about all those things. He was asking him about Leviathan and behemoth and ostriches and all that. Did you do any of that? No. So you don't know why you're going through what you're going through.
Right. That's why I said, yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't know why I do what I do.
Oh, like when you read the Apocrypha, he said, measure me the weight of a flame.
Right.
Can you bring back tomorrow? These things you can't do, so why are you trying to search out the ways of the Most High?
Right. He told Ezra that.
God.
Right? Because Ezra thought he was able to question the Most High. Like, no. Let me show you something, man. You can't. You go weigh me the weight of fire. Go tell me about all the springs that are under the sea. See that? He asked him these things because only the Most High knows these things. So why would you be trying to inquire on that?
Right. That goes back to Job chapter 36 and verse 26. And it says, behold, God is great, and we know him not. Neither can the number of his years be searched out.
Right.
That's kind of, you know.
Hey, and you know, just like I said, when people come up talking to me about, who created the Most High? Go weigh me the weight of fire. You know what I mean? Tell me about all the spread. Listen, I'm gonna fart, catch that and paint it blue. You know what I mean? If you can't do none of that with earthly things, why are you asking me about the Most High? Why are you asking me about when he was born and when he was created? You can't even handle things on the earth. You know what I mean? You barely at the 1900s learning how to light a fart on fire, and you over here talking about when the Most High was born.
Right.
People have been passing gas for centuries. You just found out they're flammable.
It's like, why would you have the audacity to do that? Like, you can't. Like, who was it? That angel? He told the lady. He said you couldn't even comprehend my name. Like,
Yeah.
how much more anything else?
Yeah, the angel told him, why are you asking my name? Because it's secret. You know what I mean? Like, even some of the angels' names, you don't get to know that. Y'all see that?
No.
So why would you be sitting there talking about, who created the Most High? How you gonna be the thing created asking when the Creator got created?
Right.
Y'all see that? You're the creature. You're the thing it made.
Recipes and secret sauce.
That's like
Right.
what that's like audacity. Like that's like a form of pride. Like, well, who are you, nigga? Like, you can't ask.
That's Satan complex.
Like, you get put to death for things like that. You know what I mean? Like you approach the king and you don't bow. Okay, off with his head.
Again, you don't get to call your mama by her first name.
No.
You know what I mean? You don't get to ask your mama certain questions. You think you're gonna come up against the Most High and ask him this thing?
Smack that.
Yeah. So we're at Job 42, right?
God.
Any questions on 40 or 41? Besides what we went over already? All right. So we're at 42, verse 4. Here I beseech you, and I will speak. I will demand of you, and declare you unto me. So this is Christ telling Job, this is the Most High. I'm sorry, this is Job speaking back to Christ, saying, here I beseech you, and I will speak. I will demand of you, and declare you unto me. So he's saying, I'm going to ask you some questions. I have heard of you by the hearing of the ear, but now my eye seeth you. See that? So they heard about Christ already. Now he's getting to see him. All right. Wherefore I abhor myself and repent in dust and ashes. And it was so that after the Lord had spoken these words unto Job, the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, my wrath is kindled against you and against your two friends, for you have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job has.
Y'all make me angry.
He said, therefore take unto you now 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you. For him will I accept, lest I deal with you after your folly, in that you have not spoken of me the thing which is right, like my servant Job. So Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite went and did according to the Lord commanded them. The Lord also accepted Job. And the Lord turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. Also the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. Then came there unto him all his brethren, and all his sisters, and all they that had been of his acquaintance before, and did eat bread with him in his house. And they bemoaned him, and comforted him over all the evil that the Most High had brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold. Y'all see that? So the Most High restored twice what Job had lost. Y'all see that? So when y'all going through your loss, again, when you lose your car and you act like you're going through some Job stuff, no, Job was greater than all the men of the East. He was the greater in riches than all the men of the East. You understand? The only one who was ever greater than him was Solomon. All right? In riches and wisdom. Y'all see that? So he was greater than all the men of the East for his time. And the Most High stripped him of all that. Then he gave him back double. Y'all see this? Right.
You Bill Gates and now you Bill Gates times 2.
Right.
Let's see, where are we at? Verse,
money.
12. Verse 12. So the Most High blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning. For he had 14,000 sheep and 6,000 camels and 1,000 yoke of oxen. Now that means he had 2,000 oxen. Because you put them to the yoke, that's 2 oxen per yoke. So if he had 1,000 yoke, it's 1,000 times 2. All right, and 1,000 she-asses. He had also 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he called the name of the first Jemimah, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Karen Hapuk. And in the land were no women found so fair as the daughters of Job, and their father gave them inheritance among their brethren. After this, Job lived 140 years, and saw his sons and his sons' sons, even 4 generations. So Job died, being old and full of days. All right. So this is again before that time that the Most High started limited men. Actually, it would have been after that time. It would have been after that time where the Most High granted this man more years than anybody else. All right. So after Genesis chapter 6, where he limited man to 120 years, this man he gave grace and said, you know what, you're gonna live past that. You're gonna see your son to your son's sons to 4 generations. All right. Question?
Yeah. I'm just kind of curious about something. Verse 8. Why? Okay, he said, now therefore take for yourself 7 bulls and 7 rams. Why 7?
That's the number he wanted. He was like, listen, you're gonna get seven lambs, 7 rams. You're gonna bring these things to Job. He's basically telling them to give their sacrifice that they normally would have gave. Later on, he asked for these things for the Levite priest, right? He's telling them to give that to Job. So he just made Job the priest.
So there was no certain reason for the number 7.
Nah, that's the number he goes with commonly. It's basically a complete number. Alright.
So he had $6 million. And that's just an basic ox. That's just an average ox. So he had $6 million just in ox.
Yeah.
Just in an ox.
Yeah, just in the amount of oxen he had, it would have been $6 million today.
And that's not even a prime like alpha bull oxen. Like
Right.
Then they use that.
The yoke oxen were the male ones. All right, so we're not even talking about the female ones.
Because they need a female to make.
Right, the female ones, that's where you get your milk and all that stuff from. So that was just counting the male oxen. He had $6 million worth of that. All right, beside the sheep, beside the goats, beside all the other stuff he had. All right. Any other questions?
So the moral to this story is, the law descriptive things, we just have to keep faith in him in order to actually,
In order to receive the blessing, yeah. In order to come out on top, yeah. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 2.
Ecclesiastes chapter 2.
See, like when you read chapter 1, verse 22, verse 21 on Job, he says, and said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this, Job sinned not, nor charged the Most High foolishly. Y'all see that? So he didn't treat the Most High like he was unjust and he didn't know what he was doing at any point. All right. So go ahead and read that.
Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation.
Right. See, this is what we got to know. When you come to serve the Most High, you got to prepare for temptation. You got to prepare that things like this might happen. Go ahead.
Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble.
See that? You got to set your mind right. Thinking on Job, thinking on what happened to him. Set your mind right and constantly endure. Go ahead.
Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end.
See, that's exactly what they're explaining to you, right? Is what happened to Job. He got increased at his last end, but you got to keep striving, keep fighting. Go to Ecclesiastes 4:28.
Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 28. Strive for the truth unto death.
See that? That's what Job did. He hung on and never charged the Most High foolishly unto death. Y'all see that? Now, it didn't kill him to do it. The Most High saved him. So strive for the truth unto death. Go ahead.
And the Lord shall fight for you.
See that? So that's what happened. He got increased in his latter end. He strove until death. All right?
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Was a fight for him? I mean, I don't quite get it. I mean, why would we have to fight for you?
Why would he have to fight for you? How does the Most High fight for us? You don't understand it? What did it say? He said he'll give his angels charge over you, right? And they'll bear you up unless you dash your foot against the stones. He sends his angels to fight for you, man. They fight them spirits off. You understand? So when you fight for the Most High to death, it said that he'll fight for you.
Oh, okay.
All right. I'm looking for. Right. James 4 and 7. That's what it was.
James chapter 4, verse 7. Submit yourselves therefore to the Most High. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you.
See that? So he's showing you, if you submit to the Most High, if you're submitting to the Most High, saying I'm up under his protection, then when you resist the things the devil's trying to put in your path, like we went over the fruits of the works of the flesh in Galatians 5, when you resist those things, those temptations to the flesh, that's when He sends them angels to comfort you, to minister to you, to give you the right message, give you the right way to get out of that. You understand? And if you resist the devil, he'll flee from you because you submitted to the Most High. You said, I'm under your protection. You see that? Same thing as Job. Naked when I came into the world, naked will I go out. You know what I mean? This is the will of the Most High. He submitted to that. The Most High fought for him. Y'all see that? It even made him, the three demons that came out to basically make him feel even worse during his trial. He exalted him above them. Y'all see that? So he fought for Job even in the flesh. Like, look, even your friend's gonna have to bow to you. Y'all see that?
Is that kind of like in Jude when Satan said he didn't bring up false accusation?
Like he said, you talking about Jude where he said Michael didn't bring up a railing accusation against Satan.
Right.
Yeah, he didn't basically go back and forth trying to cuss him out. He said the Most High rebuked.
Yeah. So that's what Job basically did to his three friends, like, but he put it more eloquently. But he was like, listen, Most High said.
Right. Like I'm not gonna go back and forth with y'all. I'm not gonna sit here and cuss y'all out or nothing like that for coming. But the Most High came and did that for him. Y'all see that? Christ came and was like, you know what? You didn't even speak. Nothing you said was right according to how I view Job. Y'all see that? And even one of his friends said it. Like I said, man, one of his friends said it that I haven't even spoken on the behalf of the Most High yet. So we went all the way to the end of Job, and none of them cats acknowledged that they were speaking for the Most High. They were speaking out their own mouth. Y'all see that? Yeah, you get that, man. You get a lot of people that try to persecute you for what you do. You wear the head covering. They speaking out their own mouth. Show me a scripture that says I shouldn't do it. You know what I mean? You wearing your fringes. Show me a scripture that says I shouldn't do it. You can't? Okay, then get away from it. You know what I mean? It's like the potheads, oh, you can't show me a scripture, it's illegal. Okay, well, you can't show me a scripture we ever did. You know what I mean? You can't show me a scripture that it's okay. So why would I do that? If I know the scriptures do say my body is a temple of the Most High. You know what I mean? And all you going off of is something Esau told you. You know what I mean? Esau told you that the smoking weed don't kill nobody. Sure it do. You know what I mean? Sure it kills people. You just don't, you haven't personally experienced it because you're going off statistics. Right? You're going off of what the so-called white man told you to justify their wickedness. See that? But it kills people all the time. There ain't no time that you're going to inhale smoke and it's good for you. That's why your body coughs. That's why you get choked up. Even with the frankincense and myrrh. That's not a scent we burn so we can inhale it. That's why I'll be up here, you know what I mean, getting choked up. Brothers be getting choked up trying to read. Because that's a scent we burn to the Most High. Right. It's a sweet savor to him. But he ain't sitting, that don't mean he's sitting over there huffing your frankincense and myrrh. Y'all see that? But we got to understand these things, man, because otherwise, like we went over earlier, there will be people that will try to lead you astray into thinking these things. Y'all see that? What's that, sis?
I have a question. I ain't gonna lie, I was a program on, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, but in the Bible, what does it mean when it says, I'm not gonna quote it word for word, but it says some of, you can cultivate the plants and everything. I put it on earth for man, something like that. What does that mean?
We use the herb for meat. We use the fruit for meat. We use it to eat. Okay. You understand? Like when you get a salad, right? Or if you cook fish, you get them the lemon pepper, right? Those are herbs. Okay. You understand? You eat that. You don't sit there and burn them over the fire and huff up lemon pepper, right? You don't do that. You use it to eat, and it flavors your food, and it has good effects on your body. Okay. You understand? But we ate it. You didn't burn it, turn it into carbon monoxide, which is poisonous to you. Right. You see that?
Well, explain the part about herbs, so like medicine.
Yeah, the herb is for medicine. You can get that for me, I think, in Ezekiel. It should be in Ezekiel, I think it's 47:12 or something.
Ezekiel chapter 47, verse 12. And by the river upon the bank thereof, on the side and on that side shall grow all trees for meat.
For what?
For meat.
The trees are for what?
For meat.
For smoke.
For meat.
Smoking trees.
For meat.
Okay. The trees are for meat. Now, what do you use meat for? Do you burn it on the grill and inhale the smoke and just let it burn up? Okay. You eat meat, right? And even when the scripture's saying meat, it's saying food. All right? So he's saying the trees will be for meat. They'll be for food. Go ahead.
Whose leaf shall not fade.
Whose leaf shall not fade. Go ahead.
Neither shall the fruit thereof be consumed.
Go ahead.
It shall bring forth new fruit according to his months.
Go ahead.
Because their waters, they is issued out of the sanctuary, and the fruit thereof shall be for meat.
Right.
And the leaf thereof for medicine.
See that? Now, we know this is a double meaning, that this is also talking about the spirit. That's why I said the waters that issue forth, right? Before the healing of the nations, I think it said. But that's talking about the spirit. All right? So this is actually going into like the tree of knowledge. All right? You're dealing with the zodiac again. All right? And that comes in that Genesis breakdown when y'all watch that. But also, he's telling you that that's the purpose of the trees. When you go back to Genesis, you find out what purpose did he give you the herbs and the trees and all that for? He gave it for you to eat, not smoke. Y'all see that? If it was true, how come people don't hang out when there's a forest fire? Why they don't stay, man? You smoke, get all them trees smoked up, right? That's the purpose, right? Yeah. So clearly, those things are not made for burning up and inhaling, right? That's why the fire department guys, the firefighters, they wear those masks, right? To filter out the smoke and so they can breathe in fresh oxygen. Y'all see that? So why would we think that it's different from one tree to another, to a plant, to a whatever? Anything you burn, you change outside its natural course. You turn it back into carbon monoxide, which is dangerous for you. It's deadly for you. You understand? Even in small amounts. If don't believe me, I know they try to act like, oh yeah, these track stars and everything smoke weed. What's his name? Michael Phelps was smoking weed and trying to do the Wheaties thing and all that. Here's the thing. In general cases, if all you're doing is smoking weed like the average pothead, you ain't running. You understand? And if Michael Phelps did swim all that far and these other runners did smoke weed at the same time they was doing their sprints, imagine how much faster and stronger they would have been if they would have kept it natural, if they would have kept themselves clean and kept their lung capacity open. You understand? Like, you didn't read about Jesse Owens having to smoke weed to smoke everybody at the Olympics. Right. You know what I mean? Back in the day, what was the other guy, Michael Johnson? These cats, the fastest man alive, these cats wasn't having to smoke weed to do that stuff.
Bolt.
Just
Bolt.
Yeah, Manu Bolt?
No,
Usain Bolt.
Usain Bolt.
That's it? Because he's been.
I'm trying to remember which one. It's one of the current ones that's running now that he trying to make it popular to smoke weed and everything. So people are justifying it through him. Like, nigga, you ain't ran nowhere. You know what I mean? And bump that. We could go to Issachar though to run farther than any of these cats.
Right.
Yeah, this Issachar woman ran 300 miles in a Sunday dress. All right. When you read about Issachar, the Apaches, when you read about even further back, Gad, they eat a teaspoonful of chia seeds and run from California to Colorado.
Yeah.
Non-stop.
That's a 19-hour drive.
They ran that off a teaspoon of chia seeds. You understand?
Oh, yeah, this,
chia seeds. Yeah, they're these little seeds. Remember the chia pets?
Yeah.
Right? There you go. I can't sing it, but there you go. Right? You remember that?
Yeah.
Pour that water on there, they all expand. Well, when you eat them seeds expand in your belly. They turn into like a gelatin. They give you a lot of protein, a lot of carbs and everything that you need to sustain a long run. All right? Ninjas did it in Japan. Dad used to do it over here. Our people used to do it back in the day. You know what I mean? It tell you Azahel in the Bible. He was, I think, one of David's sons. He could run like a roe. He could run like a deer, man.
Okay, what plant did they come from?
What plant?
Yeah.
Chia. Chia plant.
Oh,
Yeah, CHIA.
There's a Shamshon.
But then if you look at chia, right? If you were to say it, if you say it the way it looks, it would be chaya, life, in Hebrew. Y'all see that? Stuff they don't tell you, man. These things been around, and we were the ones that brought this to the world. What were you saying?
Shamshon was telling me about this book that is about Gad and stuff like that, right? He was on the run from Esau. And he outran them for like, they were on horseback, and they had the dogs. So they were literally hunting, right? And he ran for 3 days straight without resting. And they couldn't catch him.
Yeah, that was common. You know what I mean? When you read about, you read Geronimo's autobiography, he tell you the kids they used to train, they'd be running, that was their rite of passage, man. They fill up with a mouthful of water, and they had to run like 15 miles nonstop with a mouthful of water. They couldn't swallow none of it. That was just basic training. You know what I mean? They throw rocks at each other as games. And, you know, some kids would get the eye knocked out, dead or whatever. But that was a game. They throw rocks at each other. You see what I'm saying? Now our kids, you know, you don't want to put them on the plastic slide because the sun been out. You know what I mean? Oh, don't let them go outside. It's raining. Like, are you serious? We had warriors and killers back in the day, man. Wasn't even that far ago, or long ago. You dealing with Gad. This was 1800s, 1700s. They was able to do this, man. They was moving like ninjas, right? You know what I mean? When you go into the ninja training and all that stuff, they train harder than that. These cats was doing the ninjas, the kung fu masters. They go through harder than the Olympics. They go through training way harder than the Olympics. You know what I mean? You talking about the big stairs? You guys see that on the Shaolin Temple? They gotta go up all these big stairs. These cats gotta go up there with like a stick with a jug of water on this side, a jug of water on that side. That's training. You know what I mean? Yeah, with a mouthful of water. That's training. Gotta sit in horse stance for a whole day. You know what I mean? You sit in horse stance with a teacup right here, and a teacup right here, and you can't spill a drop of tea.
Oh, the running. They used to tie a bed sheet. You imagine your sheet, right? And you tie it around your neck as a cape, but it would have to be the long way, so the end of the tail could not touch the ground. So you'd have to run fast enough to keep that tail flapping in the wind.
See that's just training. You know what I mean? You can watch Jackie Chan's old movies, man. He was always trying to cheat, but they had him do it. He was hanging upside down, and his master had him doing the sit-ups, and he was having to take these coffee cups. He'd go down. When he went down, he had to fill them up with water that was from a jug that was on the ground. Then he'd do the sit-up, right? Fold himself in half and have to fill up the 2 jugs that was hanging from the posts where his feet were. You know what I mean? And so he tried to cheat, and he jumped off the thing and started pouring the water like this, just standing up, right? So then he got down, he tapped on his master, acted like he was all sweating and everything. So his master gave him 2 smaller cups and made him start pouring them from the ones on his feet back into the other jugs. See that? So that was training. That was like how brothers and sisters train. Now you're looking at the Olympics like, oh, they're doing something. They ain't doing crap. Right. You know what I mean? They do warm-ups. Yeah, it's like the marathon. What's the longest marathon they got?
Triathlon?
Yeah. What's the longest they go on that stuff?
They got a 24-hour one. They got a 24-hour one.
Yeah, 24 hours. That ain't nothing, man. We talking about cats running from California to Colorado.
Again, that's a 19-hour
drive. Right. Non-stop off a teaspoon of seeds. And you see the chia seed, it's like Christ said about the faith, the grain of a mustard seed. It's about that big. All right, you look at sesame seeds on top of the buns of your hamburgers. It's about a little bit smaller than that.
So they would take
That's a
drink
chia.
water with it? I mean,
Yeah, you take that, it expands in the water that's in your stomach, or you drink water and it expands in that, and then you run.
So you chew it or just swallow it?
You can do both. Yeah, you can chew it, or either way, it's going to expand. It's going to catch that water, that moisture, and expand, turn into gelatin. Yeah. But yeah, they off a teaspoonful of that.
Yeah, I can actually go to.
Yeah. Now you can go to GNC. You can go to. You got to try to get it organic and where it's still alive, because a lot of times they'll sell it to you the knockoff ones where they just roasted them or dried them up and they don't have no real enzymes to it or nothing. Like you'll put them in water and you'll never see them gel up. Those ain't real chia seeds. You know what I mean? Because they genetically modifying everything now. Yeah.
Because it also flushes you, like when you take it, when you put it in the water, and then you let it gel up, and then you drink it, it flushes all that. It's like a oral enema. It pushes everything, all that stuff out of you.
Oh, yeah.
We took, me and Quatazat. Because Quatazat put me on that, and we was taking that in Arizona.
Yeah.
We mix that, and then we mix it with the smoothies or our juices. It'll flush, yeah.
So it is true when they say you can cure all diseases known to man with plants and all that?
Yeah. That's what it was for. That's what when you read that in when we just read in Ezekiel, that's for the healing of the nations. Y'all see that? It's for medicine. That's what it's for, man. That's what they're going back to. That that when you take codeine, right? Anybody ever took codeine?
Cody.
Yeah, codeine. In the hospital, they prescribe you codeine. That's cocaine, man. It's from the coca leaf. All right. A lot of all your drugs. A lot of people don't know they're taking drugs, man. Anything with the INE on the ending, that's a drug. If you're drinking caffeine, that's the drug that's derived from the cafe bean, the coffee bean. You understand? Cocaine is coca leaf, right? There's a drug in chocolate, man. The cocoa bean.
I always wonder why it feels so energetic after a cup of coffee.
Yeah, because you overdosing on a drug that's meant for energy and for headaches.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I think a dose of the regular dose of caffeine is supposed to be like a cup. That's as much as you're supposed to drink. Most people get the damn 64-ounce mug from the gas station and they want to drink coffee out of that. But you're really only supposed to have a cup of that, 8 ounces. And that's even more dosage than was originally took because you have a headache, you eat a bean, right? And you were good.
You do an espresso, which is like high condensed water.
Yeah, yeah, that's where the concentrated stuff. You know what I mean? That's the espresso. But here's the thing: if you was, that's why now you stop drinking the coffee for a day or two, you start getting headaches and everything, because now you're coming off of that drug. You're going through withdrawal symptoms already. Y'all see that? It was meant for medicine. All these things were meant for medicine, for healing. But you start overdosing on them, your body builds up an immunity. It don't even work on you no more. You know what I mean? Same thing happens with these potheads, man. They smoke a little bit, then they figure out, oh, that joint ain't doing it no more. Now I got to smoke a bowl. Now I got to I got to just burn the whole bag and just sit in the house and hotbox. You know what I mean? Like they got to find all these different levels of trying to do these drugs because it's not having an effect no more. Because it's natural, your body gets used to it, and now it takes more to get you there. You see that? It don't matter how much you've done LSD. Every hit is gonna hit you because it ain't natural. You know what I mean? Every hit's gonna make you trip out, hallucinate, all that. But you mess with those natural ones, your body gets used to it. You build up an immunity. You see that? And most of the time, because you're overdosing on it. But yeah, we was gonna take class to 1 because we're gonna go out a little bit past Dallas to do class out there too, for them out there. So it's 1 now. So for y'all online, thank y'all for joining us. Next week, we'll come back. We'll be able to do the Hebrew class and everything like we did last week. But with that, we're gonna say shalom to y'all. All right,
Shalom.
Shalom. What's that?
I would say like classes start like it's noon on Saturdays, no?
It's 10 to 1, 10 to 2 normally. This week we got to go out to Dallas and run class, so we're doing it from 12 to 1 and then headed out to class out there too.
Now it's been for a month and a half. It's been at 10 o'clock.
That's why I always
Because
come
I got
at
that
12
12
and I'm thinking
12 to 3.
Oh, okay, yeah. They changed it back to 10 because we weren't able to get out for street